Hi everyone, it's Lucy from My Crazy Craft Life, and I am here today with a design team post for Scrapping for Less. I pulled out my April 2018 Flavor of the Month kit. There was a few things that I wanted to make that I didn't get a chance to when I originally got the kit. I know I talked about before that I like to stamp quite a few images and color them all at the same time so that I can use them later, or if I ever need a quick card, I already have kind of something to go off of. So I decided on a design that I wanted. I have those images that are already colored in there. The frog one I really didn't get to use when I was making the cards for that kit. So I wanted to go back and make something with that adorable little frog from Pink and Maine. Raining Frogs is the stamp set. I picked out some pattern papers, and then I was just piecing together what I wanted to do with them as far as cutting them down and figuring out what I wanted to do. I used the paper from one of the other collections. I believe it was Vintage Bliss by Simple Stories. And so I just colored down that water or puddle that was on the bottom of there. And I used a stitch circle to cut out a couple circles for it. I made I can't even think of what it's called. A banner, a fish-tailed banner, and a couple straight pieces. I used the rainbow pattern striped diagonal pattern, laid that all down. I did decide I wanted to pop up my little frog, so I put some fun foam underneath that and just kind of cut around it. I actually used the die, the stitch circle die, to cut out the piece of fun foam, which it works great, but sometimes it will stretch out a little bit, so you kind of got to be careful and you might have to cut a little bit out. But when you're using odd shapes and it's not just a rectangle, okay, Allie, that's my cat that just decided she wanted to be in the video. Um, anyway, so then I popped that up, and then I put hello from the Spring Blossom stamp set that was the extra stamp set in the Banana Split level. The hello stamp was in there, and I put that on the little circle. And then I added a bunch of the sequin mix that was part of that collection number 4 that had it matched the papers. And I put a little bit of Spectrum Noir Sparkle Pen on there, and that was that card. My next card, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I really liked that My Favorite Things paper. It was called Bundles of Blossoms, and I wanted to kind of use that. And so I was trying to decide on what to do. And then I decided that this was going to look kind of like a Polaroid picture. And in the center, I was trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. But then I decided just to leave the sentiment be the picture part of it, and then I was going to use the boots as just kind of an accent. And when I was deciding on which boots I wanted to use, quite a few of them would have matched it, but I thought since I was using the orange, the green, the yellow, and the 2 different shades of pink, that I would use the red boots and use some red accents, including the embossing powder. I embossed the sentiment in red, and it said, to enjoy the rainbow, we have to endure the rain. So I really liked that sentiment, and I liked that I was kind of keep it as the center of the card. And then I just popped some other pieces around. I did use some fun foam to pop up the sentiment or the picture looking piece. And then I put the little red boot on there, and I put it on the back, or I mean the base of the card. I used a red background. So I just, like I said, I wanted to keep all of the little red accents going on. I used some of the sequins that were in the sequin pack with that My Favorite Things paper. I popped up, like I said, that centerpiece and then popped up the little rain boots with a little bit thicker foam little circles. I have a bunch of those, and to be quite honest, they're a pain in the butt. I'm not entirely sure where I got them, but I think I picked them up from Michael's, and so I'm just trying to use them and get rid of them. Now, here's another thing that I had colored. I kind of created that background, and then when I created it and colored it, I didn't really know what to do with it. So this, again, I used the sentiment from the Spring Bloom, Scrapping for Less, and Brutus Monroe stamp set. Bloom Where You Are Planted was the sentiment, and then I just put that down with some VersaFine ink. I did decide to use some Spectrum Noir on all of the little tulip buds, just the buds, and all of the buds are just red and yellow and orange. Then I decided to take out a couple of the tulips that were already cut and colored. I took out 2 yellow ones and I ended up popping those up with some foam tape just to give them a little dimension and to kind of put some focus around the sentiment. I also used some Nuvo Morning Dew drops on the card, just a couple of them, and put a little of the Spectrum Noir sparkle right on the tulip buds for those yellow ones. So this was probably one of my all-time favorite kits. I especially loved the Collection 1 ingredients for the spring market, but I had used all of my papers from that pretty much. So I know there's still some of these kits over at Scrapping for Less, so go and grab yours if you didn't. And I want to thank everybody for stopping by. I hope you have a great day.